And good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Josh Pradell. I've been here at Catalyst for about a year and a half now, just working to help build out the Microsoft practice. Catalyst saw that within their customer base, there was a lot of demand for Microsoft services. So we've been working diligently over that time period to provide that type of service for you all as well. So thank you for your support in that. We've definitely seen a lot of success in that space over the past year and a half. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here this morning. This morning, I'm excited to walk you through what could be considered a transformative shift in the way we approach productivity, collaboration, and decision making, all powered through Copilot for Microsoft 365. It's important to realize that Copilot isn't necessarily just another feature set of Microsoft 365 apps, but it's really aiming to be a foundational change to how we work. Copilot integrates its advanced AI capabilities directly into the Microsoft 365 apps that we all use every day. Your Word, Excel, Outlook, Teams, entire Microsoft 365 stack. Its goal is to help you reclaim time, reduce cognitive overload, and focus on the work that truly matters to you and your business. Over the next few slides, we'll look at some real-world data, a little bit of architecture, use cases across departments, and really just some actionable strategies to help your organization adopt Copilot. I'm not going to spend too much time on the what is Copilot this morning. I think, over the past 2 years with the emergence of AI in the industry, we're all pretty well informed as to what Copilot as well as other LLMs are. What I'd like to do this morning is touch more on the how to use Copilot in your organization. This will be demo heavy this morning. We have a number of canned demos provided by Microsoft to present to you this morning, and hopefully give you a good starting point for how to use Copilot within your organization. But to start, we'll try to understand better why Copilot matters. These statistics that you see here are from Microsoft's Work Trend Index, and they really reflect the growing challenges that our knowledge workers are facing, and how Copilot is aiming to alleviate them. 64% of employees that were surveyed say that they struggle with time and energy, constant competing priorities, back-to-back meetings, never-ending to-do lists. And while leaders, innovation is top of mind for them, 60% are concerned about the lack of breakthrough ideas within the business itself. This often stems from burnout and lack of focus time. 70% of the people surveyed said that they would be willing to delegate as much work as possible to AI, which does show a shift in mindset. AI is no longer considered something to be fearful of, but something that we're actively seeing more and more as being a partner. Early adopters are really validating that belief. 68% said Copilot did improve their work quality, and 70% said it did make them more productive. The most telling stat, I think, is that 77% said that they wouldn't want to give Copilot up now that it's been integrated into their workflows. So Copilot is rapidly becoming more than just a nice to have. It's actually starting to become more and more essential to our business workflows. This is a bit of a busy slide, but I'll just aim to kind of from a high level help you understand how Copilot is working under the hood. It's obviously powered by large language models, or LLMs, which are hosted in Microsoft secure data centers. But these specific LLMs, Copilot, are grounded in your business context through the Microsoft Graph API, which has access, inroads, touches all of the services within your Microsoft tenant. So by proxy, this is going to include your emails, your calendar events, your chats, documents in SharePoint, Microsoft Teams meetings, and more. So Copilot isn't just generating generic responses for you. Its answers are based heavily in your own work, your own data, your own business context. It does, of course, sit seamlessly within the Microsoft 365 apps that we already use. So there's no need to change platforms, no real need to train users on new tools. It's all built directly into these apps by lieu of a license that you activate within your tenant. If you're wondering really where to start, how to get new users actively using Copilot, these are some of the more common entry points for users to start integrating Copilot into their workflows. Drafting emails in Outlook, summarizing team meetings, organizing to-do lists, and analyzing Excel data, they're all low-hanging fruit that can create early wins within your adoption journey and demonstrate that tangible value quickly. It is important to keep in mind, though, that as part of this mindset shift, that Copilot isn't an autopilot. It's not going to know automatically what you need, what you want, unless you tell it clearly and intentionally. You can think of Copilot just like a human assistant. The more specific and detailed your instructions, the better the outcome. You can think about prompts. A good prompt is being like a recipe. It actively tells Copilot what ingredients to use, in what order, and for what purpose. For example, instead of saying, "What did I miss yesterday?" which is pretty vague, you should try something like, "What are my action items from the weekly team meeting yesterday?" It's clear, it's contextual, and gives Copilot the direction it needs to ground its responses in your business data. And at the onset, teaching your teams how to write good prompts up front is really an essential step in maximizing the return on investment of this tool. So getting into, seeing how versatile Copilot is within the business organization, it's not tied to any one department. Copilot can support a wide range of processes across all business functions. For instance, in sales, Copilot can help with everything from generating leads to post-sale follow-up and forecasting. In marketing, it can help you craft content, execute campaigns, analyze performance. In IT, it can certainly assist with device refresh planning, help desk ticketing, and change management. And then from a broader scope, in areas like HR, legal, finance, they all benefit, whether it's reviewing contracts, generating reports, or streamlining onboarding. This broad coverage is what makes Copilot more of a platform investment as a whole, and not just a productivity tool to add to your already existing stack. It really does become part of your operating model at this point. And then when you start tying tangible value and impact to Copilot, it's you still can tie these back to individual business departments. Each department has unique goals and metrics that matter to them. For sales, that could be win rates, upsell performance, deal size. For IT, it's issue resolution time and application uptime. Having these KPIs not only help you benchmark the impact of Copilot, but are also going to assist you in building the business case. By tracking improvements against these specific metrics, you can quantify the value of Copilot in practical terms that will resonate with leadership. And as you implement Copilot, it's helpful to identify 2 or 3 of these KPIs per function that align with those strategic goals. Don't necessarily have to target each and every one of these KPIs, but some of the ones that are more applicable and maybe monotonous or routine in your existing structure could really start to showcase the value of Copilot as a whole. Now, For these next couple of slides, I'm not going to get too deep into these because the demos will further elaborate on these slides, and I believe that we will be making these slides available to everyone attending today, just for reference material as well, and ability to help you get started adopting Copilot. But what this looks like in practice is, when you're thinking about KPIs, when you're thinking about business function, ask yourself, what is one process that's a pain point? And typically this is going to be something that is repetitive or very manual or slow. When you start to think about sales, you're thinking about generating prospect emails or regular updates to the account team at large. When you're thinking about marketing, following up with webinar attendees, crafting press releases. When you think about customer service, compiling project status updates, confirming customer service appointments. In legal, analyzing case law for risk management and summarizing client interactions. In human resources, onboarding has been a task that Copilot has certainly been assisting with. From finance, writing contract amendment emails and creating meeting notes for financial standards. And then in IT, researching new IT solutions and developing IT product roadmaps. This is really where Copilot is going to shine. Performing all of these tasks for you using contextual business data are really going to help you better understand the impact that Copilot can have within your business. These starter prompts here, and again, we'll provide these slides to you, but these starter prompts are here to really get you thinking, as they are real examples to, what you can try with Copilot now if it's enabled in your tenant. You can also ask yourself, is our AI or is our Copilot grounded in our own organizational data? This is going to be key because when Copilot knows your business context, its responses are going to be far more valuable. Encouraging your teams to test a few of these prompts in their daily workflow is going to lead to better prompt literacy and higher satisfaction early on. So with that, we will get into the demos. I have about 5 of them to go through. Each of them will cover using Copilot in a specific Microsoft 365 app based on personas. We will be assuming that these personas are within an organization called AdventureWorks that is actively selling a product, an e-bike, as part of their sales motion. For the first demo that we're going to get into, we're going to demonstrate how to use Copilot in Outlook that can, in a manner that helps a salesperson with everyday situations like processing email, summarizing complicated asks, and getting coaching to actually send better emails as well. So I will start this demo. So as the AdventureWorks sales manager, we are going to catch up on our email. And like all of us, I'm sure, email being still one of the #1 ways to transact business, our inboxes are very busy. We all have team emails, customer emails, vendor emails. In this example, we'll have an RFP sitting in our inbox as well. But, like all of us, we're concerned that we'll miss messages, send wrong messages, forget information when responding. So we'll demonstrate how Copilot can actually help us filter through all of that information and reply in a manner that's efficient. So to get started, we will.
Hey, Josh, not to, oh, there you go. You're sharing it now. Sorry, I thought you were sharing something on the screen. I saw your screensaver.
No worries. So we can see here that our inbox is very busy. The city transportation department has reached out to us requesting a proposal. They'd like a fleet of our e-bikes and a support contract to go along with it. So we will open this email, and it's not a very lengthy email, but there is a lot of just plain text. So we'll use Copilot to summarize the email faster than we could typically read through all of this text. So we will click Summary by Copilot. And now you have a couple of bullet points to read through, and immediately we know that our city of transportation contact, Lynn, what her department needs and why, which is a fleet of e-bikes for their staff for short trips to reduce carbon footprint and increase health benefits. We also know the support contract needs and what our deadline for this RFP is. So understanding this, we can now reply to the email appropriately. And from here, we have suggestions from Copilot by default to help us get started on our response, or we could tailor a custom prompt for Copilot to work with. So in this example, we'll click Custom, and we can just summarize what we want this email to say. We basically want to accept this RFP, let her know that we will review it and get back to her shortly with any questions. Now, we do have the ability to understand or dictate how we want the tone and the length to be as part of this response. So we can click the generation options here. And we see by default it's formal, a formal tone and a short length. It's appropriate for this response. So we'll close the generation options tab and have it generate an email for us. Copilot does create an email in response to this request. It looks good, but the tone isn't direct enough for us. So what we can do from here is edit our prompt using this button, and we will make it sound more direct. So with the revisions that Copilot has made here, we're happy with the way this sounds. So we'll opt to keep it and save it to our drafts for us to send later on. Now, while we're waiting to send that, we have been working on a draft in response to a customer that has had an issue with one of their e-bikes. So, obviously, we want to make sure that customer service is a priority. We want to make sure that in our response, we're covering all of the bases, making sure all of the questions are answered, and dictating a specific outcome for the customer. So we can use Copilot to help us understand what the context of this email is and give us ideas on how to respond. So we'll click the Copilot button, and we'll have Copilot coach for us. And you can see here that after Copilot analyzes the email, it will offer suggestions on improving the tone, the clarity, reader sentiment. If we like any or all of these suggestions, we can certainly incorporate the feedback into this draft. And you can see here that there were a number of suggestions that Copilot made to further improve our response. So we will close this, and we will go ahead and manually edit our response, taking into consideration the suggestions that Copilot made. And obviously we can have Copilot write this for us ourselves, but in order to give it a more personal touch, we'll just take the coaching suggestions and import them manually. We're satisfied with this email, so we will go ahead and send it to our customer. So, going through Outlook, managing, our inbox and better understanding, what takes priority and how best to efficiently and contextually respond to these issues or these requests, Copilot has allowed us to do in a matter of minutes rather than a handful of hours. So that concludes the Outlook demo. We will move on to the next demo, which is that of a marketing persona. This marketing persona will want to create a presentation in PowerPoint by referencing data that we already have included in a Word document. So I'll get this demo started right now. All right. So acting as a part of the marketing team, we've been tasked with creating a social media post about sustainable transportation in advance of our new e-bike launch. In order to maximize our creativity, increase our productivity, we're going to create social media post ideas in PowerPoint referencing a file using Copilot. So to get started, we will click on Word. And here we have a pretty thorough blog post that we previously used that that goes through, what sustainable transportation is, why it's a great subject to, tailor to our social outreach. This blog post contains facts about our e-bike that we're trying to promote. Just scrolling through the document itself, you can see that it contains quite a bit of data here that we would want to incorporate into any kind of outreach that we have. So now that we have all of our data compiled, we don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. We can come to PowerPoint and select a template to start with. We'll create this template. And this just kind of gives us a framework for, creating that pitch to the rest of the marketing team for this social outreach. In order to further streamline this creative process, we're going to open up Copilot. And one of the default options that we get is to create a presentation from file. So we're going to leverage that blog post in Word that we referenced earlier and create an entire presentation around the data that was incorporated into it. So we will select that file and send that to Copilot. This is just going to prompt us that, hey, I'm going to overwrite the data that you currently have. We'll select yes. It's generating an outline for our presentation here, all using the reference document, laying all of the information into well-structured slides that match the chosen theme here that we've selected initially. We're happy with this presentation, but we'd like to spruce it up a little bit. So we're going to have Copilot include a relevant visual for some of these slides. So we will ask Copilot to simply add a photo of an e-bike to this specific slide here. And there, it has updated the slide with a visual. And then what we'd like to do is change the format of this slide just a little bit so we can leverage the designer here. We have a number of different options. We will select this one. This one speaks to us. And then once we're happy with that, we'll return to Copilot. And we want to organize all of this data into a structure that flows easily, has the most impact, and that is one of the default prompts that Copilot has. So we'll just open the prompt window here. We have a number of different prompt categories. We'll come to Edit and ask Copilot to organize this presentation for us. So once Copilot is finished, it's structured the content in a way that flows, is impactful. Just to go back and verify that it has updated some of these slides with more structured content. We do see that it has created an agenda with the flow of the presentation itself. And has also created an introduction slide that will essentially give a high-level overview of everything that we want to cover during this presentation as well. So, Copilot here, based on the data that we already had, can empower us to create high-quality presentations efficiently and effectively. We've automated these routine tasks. We've implemented intelligent design suggestions. So Copilot has enhanced our productivity from this perspective and enabled us to deliver a compelling presentation with confidence because it's all been built on, again, contextual business data. So we will move to the next demo. For this specific demo, we'll be leveraging Copilot in Word to help someone in the legal department create a patent application from source materials that, again, that we already have. So we will start this demo. So as part of the legal team, we need to create a patent application document for the new pedal assist system of our e-bikes. We already have information in a product spec sheet about this pedal assist system. We want to extract that information while making sure all of the required elements for a patent application are included. The product spec sheet does contain more information than we can easily consume, and we don't necessarily want to leave any kind of important details out while putting together the application. So we'll use Copilot to help us filter all of that. So to start, we'll review the files that we have in Word. You can see here that this is basically our spec sheet for our pedal assist system. And again, as you can see here, there is a lot of data. Relevant data, but data that will probably take us quite a bit of time for us to consume and then summarize within a patent application. So we do have a framework here on the elements of a design patent application that we've outlined here. We want to generate the patent application quickly so that we can move on to other tasks like preparing for the meeting with our legal consulting firm. So using the product spec sheet that we reviewed and the outline that you see here containing all the required elements for that application, we'll use Copilot to speed up this process. So in order to do so, we will click File and create a blank document for our patent application. We will use Copilot here, and we will reference those files that we just reviewed. So our pedal assist system and our elements of a patent application. And then we'll tell Copilot what we want to do with this data. We want to create a patent application document using the information here. So we will click Generate. And taking all of that information into context, it will actually build out the application for us. So basically, with one single prompt, 2 reference files, we've gotten a solid first draft for our application. So we'll tell Copilot that we want to keep it. And it's important to note that Copilot, while it did see in the spec sheet that there were images within that document, it can't import those images directly into a new document just yet, but it is aware of them, and can take that into somewhat of a context, but it can't do a direct copy, just for future reference. But you can see that it has developed a pretty thorough patent application. And what we want to do here, now that we have a draft in place, we want to revise content to include a section about our company. So we will use Copilot to create a short paragraph in our preamble section by clicking the blank space and then clicking Copilot. And then we'll just tell Copilot what we'd like to add here. Here, as part of the preamble, we just really want to describe our company in a few sentences. And we'll click Generate. So it did create a good paragraph, but we think that it needs to sound a bit more formal to fit the tone of the rest of the document. So we'll use Copilot again to fine tune it. This first rewrite isn't quite what we're looking for, so we'll just use the regenerate function to see what else Copilot can come up with. So, initially we say that, hey, we want to make this a bit more formal, which it does. But, again, we're still not really, satisfied with the output of it. So we will simply use the regenerate button to revise it for us a little bit. Now, based on this, we feel like it fits the tone of the rest of the document. We're happy with it, and we'll opt to keep it. So we're pretty happy with the way this application has been created. We'll just kind of review the document to see if there's anything else that we may want to add to it. We feel like it's lacking something. We just don't really know what. So again, we can reference Copilot, and we can ask Copilot to inspire me. What may I have forgotten as part of this application that would further make it a little bit more formal? So we'll simply click the Inspire Me button. And the only thing that Copilot thought that really needed to be added to this draft is just basically our corporate website. So we're happy with that. We're happy with this draft. We'll opt to keep it. And we have a fully functional patent application that's ready to be submitted by our legal team. Okay. And we have 2 more demos to go. This demo will lend itself to leveraging Copilot within Excel. We will assume the role of an HR person that needs to model what-if scenarios, create complex formulas within Excel to help us better understand salaries and attrition rates, and model a new hire scenario as well. So, click this. Launch our demo. So we want to hire a new bike mechanic to work in our shop. But first, we want our HR manager to make sure all of our current employees are level set in their salary. We know that bringing in a new e-bike online will cause rapid growth within our company. So we want to evaluate any kind of attrition risk that we may have and identify any employees that may be flight risks. Like many small businesses, we keep most of our transactional information in Excel. And while we know how to work with basic Excel features, sometimes we struggle to efficiently find the necessary data points or even visualize that content. So we need to identify the number of bike mechanics in the area who have the skills that are needed to complete the job as we ramp up. So in order to better understand that, we'll start Excel. And we have a table here in an Excel spreadsheet that has all of our employee information. And Copilot does work best when data is in a table format, such as this. But if your data is not in a table, Copilot can certainly help convert it for you. But since we're already in a table format, we'll go ahead and open up Copilot here. And you can see once we open up the Copilot pane, we have the 4 core Excel prompt types, adding formula columns, highlighting, sorting, analyzing, all offered at the top. But we also have access to suggested prompts at the bottom, or we can use our natural language in the Ask a Question text box. So to get started, we will leverage the Ask a Question. And we'll ask Copilot to filter the data to only display results with technician in their title. So you can see Copilot has filtered out anybody that is not a technician so that we can better understand this specific data. In order to start the analytic process that will help us better determine what attrition risk is and what we can do to mitigate some of that. We can leverage some of the built-in prompts in Copilot for Excel. Again, we have categories here for these prompts. We'll select Edit, and then we'll want to sort our data. So sort, that prompt is added to the text field, and then we can add on to that to specify what exactly we want to sort by. So we'll be sorting by attrition risk in descending order. So here, we can now easily see which employees are at risk. In this case, we know that we're actively going to pursue getting raises for Joni, Alex, and Hina. Those will be priorities in order to keep our mechanics with us as we grow. So with this insight, we have ideas in mind for addressing these raises, and rather than attempting the calculations manually, we'll test out suggestions from Copilot for additional formula columns. So we will use a prompt here to show a suggestion for a formula column. Here, Copilot will suggest a column calculating the salary increase recommended for each employee based on their impact of loss, that attrition rate. Copilot will not only generate and show the formula, but will also provide a description of the formula for us, an explanation of the formula. So while we're working through this, we can also be learning at the same time. So we will insert this column here. So we've further increased our efficiency in generating that column for us. We will ask Copilot another question. We will want to do some quick arithmetic to add the current salary with the suggested increase in salary to better understand quickly what the new base salary will be. So we will send that to Copilot. And again, Copilot will suggest another column for the new salary, explain to us what it did, why it did it, in an effort to help us learn as we go along. We'll simply insert that column here. And we've now been able to kind of build out a plan for making sure that we retain the employees that are valuable to our company as we grow and release this new e-bike. That is the end of the Excel demo. And for our last demo, what is our time looking like? Okay. For our last demo, we will assume the persona of an executive. And within Teams, we will ask questions about what has transpired in the meeting up to a certain point, what any kind of action items are, and a summary of the key points as well. Start this. Demo. Okay, so in this final demo, we're in a kickoff meeting discussing what is needed for our new e-bike release. We want to make sure that we are capturing all of the needed tasks, issues, and any next steps. So we will use Copilot during the meeting or calls within the same tenant that are taking place within the same tenant. To summarize our conversations, we'll leverage Teams recap and transcription to stay focused during meetings because we know that we can at any time summarize that meeting. We can at any time ask questions, and we can come back to the meeting later and find any tasks that we may have missed. So to get started, we will click on Copilot. Copilot will use the meeting transcript in real time to respond to any queries that I have. And will only answer questions related to the meeting conversation transcript. So we will use the more prompts option to recap the meeting so far. As you can see here, Copilot has, based on the transcript, recapped everything that has occurred during this meeting, including topics that have been discussed, individuals that have been involved in the conversation, and citations so that we can jump directly to the specific location in the meeting, whether that's in the transcript, in the recording, or what have you. But we can see that it has produced a pretty thorough recap of everything that has transpired so far. You don't have to read through the transcript, top to bottom to better understand what needs to go on. So, we can better understand what is needed as next steps directly from interfacing with Copilot here. So to continue, we will ask Copilot, who is going to be tasked with finding a new bike mechanic, a new hire. We will send. And based on the information that has transpired during this meeting, these prompts will help us better understand specific details and who is responsible for what going forward. We can also, maybe there are things that we missed during the meeting that are imperative to, the launch of this product. And it may not, at least at the time, occur to me as to, what may be imperative. So I can actually have Copilot suggest follow-up questions for me. And it can produce any kind of questions that may be pertinent to my next steps, my action items, and potentially who to ask as well. So now that maybe I'm being called into another meeting, maybe this meeting is over, but I will go ahead and leave this meeting. And even though the meeting may be over, it doesn't mean I've lost any of that context. I can go back and reference that using Copilot at any point, tomorrow, a week from now, month from now, but I can simply go into chat and I can come back to the meeting that was held and click on the recap tab. And this recap will give me the complete meeting transcript. If I'm late to any meeting, I'll have access to any conversations that happened before we joined or after I had to leave. But if we expand on the meeting notes here, we can see that there are a number of things that were gleaned from the meeting itself. And we can now review what we missed and use Copilot to continue to ask questions about the content. So we will select Copilot from here, and we will leverage more prompts. And we want to better understand what our action items are. And this could be directly following the meeting. It could be, some time has transpired and we've forgotten, but we can list the action items here and have a better understanding of what needs to be done in order to continue making this product release a success. So that concludes all the demos. And I know we're encroaching on the Q&A, so I'll just summarize what a user experience strategy can be, and then we can get to the Q&A. But so you can see that through these demos and how we've used Copilot today, that this isn't necessarily going to be like a one and done event. Copilot, just like any other technology solution, is really going to be a journey. And being able to craft a thoughtful user experience strategy really is going to help you drive the long-term value of this. It can include onboarding of the solution, training around the solution, feedback collection, refining your use cases. This will all, be a roadmap that will guide your employees, not just in using Copilot, but actively using it as part of the business process as well. Your technology teams are obviously going to play a key role here, but they certainly need to be aligned with business stakeholders to truly deliver that unified experience. And an interesting caveat to this, or not a caveat, but a tip would be to, use Copilot to help you draft that user experience strategy. That would be a great first use case to model how you can use the tool effectively. And, in that user experience strategy, finding your champions in your environment, finding enthusiasts, people that are enthusiastic about trying new technologies and, going back and not reinventing the wheel, but improving business outcomes by improving business processes. Finding those champions are going to, help you kind of delegate your tasks. I mean, it is a heavy lift. Not only is the rollout of the technology a lift, but the training especially is going to be an issue. And finding champions that are going to be actively able to mentor other employees in your environment are certainly going to make that return on investment reveal itself quicker than it would otherwise. So that concludes my presentation. I think we're right at time for Q&A, so I'm happy to open up the floor and answer any questions that may have popped up in chat, or anybody that would like to come off of mute.
Yep, I'm sending everyone a notification if they'd like to come off of mute. We did get a few questions in the chat, so I'll cover those now. We did have one that when you were in the Outlook portion of the demo that came through, and the question was, is any of this available for Outlook on Mac yet, or Outlook Web?
It should be. It should be actively in both. It should be in both. I know a number of our users here that are piloting Copilot are Mac users, and have been using Copilot very, very regularly as part of their workflows here lately. So yes, they should be available for you in those solutions.
Perfect. And then the other one was when you were going through some of the HR stuff is this information secure when you're going through Copilot?
Yes, yeah. There is, and I'm glad someone brought that up because it was, it was something that I wanted to cover, but with everything that we were, going through today, it didn't take a back seat, but was kind of hard to, build into the flow. But yes, security is going to be paramount with having a successful Copilot strategy. Notwithstanding the fact, and just to kind of touch on the Copilot architecture, is everything that Copilot knows externally is coming from OpenAI and ChatGPT. It is an asynchronous sync. So basically, everything that ChatGPT learns gets injected into Copilot. Nothing comes out of your Microsoft tenant. None of the data within your Microsoft tenant is used to train any model, and your data is firmly secure within your tenant. Now, that still opens the door for some of your users to potentially be able to surface data within the context of your environment that they may not necessarily need to have access to. So that's why it's important to wherever your data is located, whether it's in SharePoint, OneDrive, or other areas that the Graph API can touch. It is important to know and review who has access to what, and this is such a probably a tired example, but if I am just an entry level worker, I've just started, I don't necessarily want to be able to, or I don't want that user to be able to use Copilot to say, hey, tell me about the compensation structure for the C-level department. You know, it's perfectly fine to have that data accessible within a SharePoint or whatever, but we want to make sure that we're actively using the security permissions and boundaries within the Microsoft tenant itself to make sure that only the users are able to do their job efficiently, but with the data that is really just for their eyes and not data that is not for their eyes, if that makes sense.
Great. Another one did come in around what is the pricing model? So what's the cost of this?
So, it is based on an annual agreement. So, you have to buy Copilot on an annual basis, but you can pay for it upfront as part of that annual subscription, or you can pay for it month to month. Currently, it is $30 a month, I believe. It's either 30 or 36. It's escaping me right now, but I do know that for the annual basis, it is $360 per user per year to enable Copilot.
Got it. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, maybe not.
Well, if anybody does think of anything after we conclude, I'm certainly accessible via email, via LinkedIn, however you'd like to interface. I'm certainly accessible. Happy to provide workshops around, what does this look like in your environment with your data? What does this look like from that business context within your organization specifically? Certainly happy to work with you to better understand what that adoption looks like, how to approach adoption, and even go on that journey with you if you need that. So certainly the door is always open. It's being that kind of enthusiast, wanting to learn more about those technologies. Certainly happy to have those discussions with you.